Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalang.
Hare Krishna. Welcome to our channel. Bhagavad-gita, here it is, because we have it. Bhagavad-gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And my name is Labanga Latika. We have entered into the 10th chapter, which is titled The Opulence of the Absolute, which may sound, a little bit abstract in a sense. What is opulence and so on, but we're coming closer to Krishna. We have, in the middle here, we will have 4 verses that are called the Chaturslokya. That are the 4 most important verses in the Bhagavad Gita. But that is not today, but that is something you have to look forward to. Today we are reading text 3. And I will read the Sanskrit. Yo mam adyam manading cha vetti loka maheshwaram asamudha samartyeshu sarvapapai pramuchyate. It's interesting with Sanskrit, you start to learn a few words here and there and you're thinking, aha, this will be something about death and the planet and everything. So we will hear. Because fortunately Prabhupada has translated it a lot better than than I could do, even if I can pick out a word here and there. He who knows me as the unborn, as the beginningless, as the supreme lord of all the worlds, he only, undeluded among men, is freed from all sins. So this is interesting, because sometimes we have this concept of papa and punya, of pious acts and sinful acts, and we can balance them out and we can control them, and we can decide what level we will be on in this world and in the next life. And to a certain extent we can do that, especially if we have some knowledge from the Vedic scriptures or traditions and so on. But we're speaking about 2 separate levels here. One level is within this world, and here is where our activities and our sinful activities will move us up and down and all over the place. Also, but it will not take us out of this place. And actually we belong to the spiritual world, and freedom from all sins means something that lasts, something going to a place where we are not in touch with this material energy at all. Purport. As stated in the 7th chapter, 7.3, Manushyanang sahasreshu kaschit yatati siddhaye. Those who are trying to elevate themselves to the platform of spiritual realization are not ordinary men. They are superior to millions and millions of ordinary men who have no knowledge of spiritual realization. But out of those actually trying to understand their spiritual situation, one who can come to the understanding that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the proprietor of everything, the unborn, is the most successful spiritually realized person. In that stage only, when one has fully understood Krishna's supreme position, can one be free completely from all sinful reactions. So yes, since we have done this, we have been on the journey from the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita and now into the 10th chapter, I feel I shouldn't need to say this, but I don't know who you are. I don't know if this is the first time you just happened to click on this. So I will still say it. When we hear these words that they are superior to millions and millions of ordinary men, so we are not trying to do what Krishna says in order to feel superior to millions and millions of men. But when we come to that interesting crossroad in life, where we start to consider, what is the meaning of life? What am I doing here? And even more so, where am I going? Then we want to find that knowledge and that method, that path that will take us there. And then we can see some of these methods are more effective and some are less effective. And it's not so much a question of judgmental. It's like if you want to go to a place and you know this bus will take me to that place, but this other bus will take me in the wrong direction, and maybe after 2 hours I can change to another bus and I will maybe still get there. Yeah, So if you're just looking at, you can't really say, well, this bus is superior to that bus, because the buses are pretty much the same. But if you have an idea of where you want to go, you will have a basis for making that judgment, what will be most useful to you. And Krishna is here speaking Bhagavad-gita to Arjuna about what is the most useful way to utilize this life when we are human beings, when we actually have these choices. So it's coming from that place. And of course, that person who has this realization, we will be very happy to meet such a person, to hear from them, to learn from their example. So, but it's not that, okay, I'm reading the Bhagavad-gita, so I'm so superior. No, that is the opposite. That is the opposite of knowledge. Knowledge starts with humility. But at the same time, we have our eyes open. We are practical, and we are not just fumbling in the dark here. We're following Krishna's instructions, and we can trust him. We have picked up this knowledge about who we are, who is Krishna, what is the goal of all these yoga methods. So that much is understood. And if it isn't understood, at least for the purpose of understanding Bhagavad-gita, we take it as the hypothetical situation. Okay, if it is like that, what Krishna says, then we go in and try to understand how it all works. So there's really nothing to be upset about, but still I just wanted to say that. Because I know I try to do that. I try to have people coming to our center in Stockholm, and I try to read the Srimad Bhagavatam. And those who were coming were very often just in the beginning of studying or being interested in this Krishna conscious philosophy. And I realized, no, you need the Bhagavad-gita. In order to read the Bhagavatam, you have to have at least some rudimentary basic understanding of the Bhagavad-gita. So I went back to reading Bhagavad-gita, and I haven't stopped since. But just sometimes we want to have a little reminder of the beginning of the Bhagavad-gita, the fundaments, how to say, the basis of the Bhagavad-gita. Here the Lord is describing the world, described by the word Ajya, meaning unborn, but he is distinct from the living entities who are described in the second chapter as Ajya. The Lord is different from the living entities who are taking birth and dying due to material attachment. The conditioned souls are changing their bodies, but his body is not changeable. Even when he comes to this material world, he comes as the same unborn. Therefore, in the fourth chapter it is said that the Lord, by his internal potency, is not under the inferior material energy, but is always in the superior energy. So yes, there is a difference. It's good to know that difference, because otherwise, why should we listen to Krishna? What is so special about Krishna? Well, Krishna is very special. He's God, and he's also that dearest person that we can have a very close relationship. But it's good to see that it's not just random that, okay, we read Bhagavad-gita, so we're all about Krishna, and somebody else may read another book and they might, put forward their champion. No, Krishna is actually objectively on a different level, because he's actually God, and that is one of the qualities of God. He is not part of this being born and dying, being born of dying, this whole situation in this material world. He comes here in his original spiritual body and manifests because he likes to, and also so that we can come in touch with him. In this verse, the words Vetti Loka Maheshwaram indicate that one should know that Lord Krishna is the supreme proprietor of the planetary systems of the universe. He was existing before the creation, and he is different from his creation. All the demigods were created within this material world, but as far as Krishna is concerned, it is said that he is not created. Therefore, Krishna is different even from the great demigods like Brahma and Shiva. And because he is the creator of Brahma, Shiva and all the other demigods, he is the supreme person of all planets. So in the West, we don't know so much about these devas. We look at India and then we think, oh yeah, in India they have many gods. And certainly these devas, they are very many. And we have stories about them. And of course we're reading mostly the stories in connection with Krishna, but they appear in different parts and doing different things. And for us, it's like a new thing to look at that. But if you come from a culture where you are aware of these devas, then sometimes it gets a little confusing, because they're all quite impressive from our point of view. They come here in their special airplanes that travel through space. They can do things that we cannot even imagine. But Krishna is very clearly described as the origin of the whole universe. So the devas, they are also living entities who take birth in this universe, and they get certain bodies according to their consciousness, their karma, their desires. So it's also possible that we have been devas, or that we will become devas later at the time. So the difference is not, of course, Shiva is different. He has his own category. But in general, the devas are jivatmas just like we are. But they are situated in different bodies. They have other capacities in this universe, where the whole thing comes from Krishna, along with all the other universes. So there is a distinction. Sri Krishna is therefore different from everything that is created, and anyone who knows him as such immediately becomes liberated from all sinful reactions. One must be liberated from all sinful reactions to be in the knowledge of the Supreme Lord. Only by devotional service can he be known, and not by any other means, as stated in the Bhagavad-gita. Yeah, so we are reading a book, and we are hearing things, and we are picking up the knowledge. But to actually be able to take in this knowledge, we have to be a little lifted up from this illusion in some sense. So, of course, in this age, the most powerful form of process of meditation is to meditate on the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So that's what we do. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is meditation done like in private. It is also done in the form of music together, and it's also done going out, because in general, unless one has been a little bit, it's that the consciousness is like a mirror, and if it's covered by dust, we cannot see ourselves. But that cleaning away that dust starts by hearing the holy name. So we start by that, but we also have this philosophy, and if you combine the two, that meditation, that absorption in Krishna's name, with reading the Bhagavad-gita, then you actually really get somewhere. But you don't get that knowledge just by being a determined student. It comes in when we connect to Krishna through devotional service, which is actually a yoga process in and of itself. One should not try to understand Krishna as a human being. As stated previously, only a foolish person thinks him to be a human being. This is again expressed here in a different way. A man who is not foolish, who is intelligent enough to understand the constitutional position of the Godhead, is always free from all sinful reactions. There is connection. The constitutional position of the Godhead and the constitutional position of us is similar in the sense that we are not material. We actually don't belong in this material atmosphere. But the difference is that we are here because we kind of can't get out of it. We've fallen into certain illusions. We have certain desires. And through that, those activities that we commit, they create the next body and the next body. And now we're in one of those bodies, and it's very difficult to, it's just like if you're walking in a dense forest, you only see the nearest trees. You have to kind of climb up to get a little perspective. And Krishna, he always has that perspective. He's never covered in any way. But sometimes he comes here and walks among us and invites us to connect to him again, and takes care of different things in the universe that no one else can do. And then he can come and go as he likes. So there's not that form of bondage that we experience here. If Krishna is known as the son of Devaki, then how can he be unborn? That is also explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. When he appears before Devaki and Vasudeva, he was not born as an ordinary child. He appeared in his original form, and then he transformed himself into an ordinary child. That's also something we have ahead of us. We can read Srimad Bhagavatam, and we can actually start to read also Krishna book, where we get to Krishna's pastime immediately, where we will hear more about Krishna. Anything done under the direction of Krishna is transcendental. It cannot be contaminated by material reactions, which may be auspicious or inauspicious. The conception that there are things auspicious and inauspicious in the material world is more or less a mental concoction, because there is nothing auspicious in the material world. Everything is inauspicious because the very material nature is inauspicious. We simply imagine it to be auspicious. Real auspiciousness depends on activities in Krishna consciousness in full devotion and service. Therefore, if we at all want our activities to be auspicious, then we should work under the directions of the Supreme Lord. Such directions are given in authoritative scriptures such as Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad-gita, or from a bona fide spiritual master, because the spiritual master is the representative of the Supreme Lord. His direction is directly the direction of the Supreme Lord. The spiritual master, saintly persons, and scriptures direct in the same way. There is no contradiction in these three sources. All activities done under such direction are freed from the reactions of pious and impious activities in this material world. So we get, it's like a compact block of information here that Prabhupada is serving up, and then sometimes we want to kind of pull it apart a little bit and come at it from different angles, but we still come back to the fact we are here, we are in this material world. Now we have woken up a little bit because at least we have the human form of life, and then Krishna comes here and says, here I am. I am Krishna. I am that friend you have missed for so long, and at the same time I am that supreme personality of Godhead from whom everything emanates. And then we hear how we can connect to him again, because it's kind of funny in a way. You know, we read about Krishna, we hear about him, we chant his name, and then, at least I have that experience, you know, I look away and then I get completely sidetracked, completely distracted by something else. And therefore the Bhakti Yoga process, it's not that you hear about Krishna once, because some people do that. Some are able to hear of Krishna once and then they never have any other priorities in life, really, because actually when you connect to Krishna, then everything is there. But because we're so conditioned, lifetime after lifetime, we've been in these different bodies, and we have put, like, I am in this body and this is the center of everything. Everything comes, like, from my perspective, I will always only see things around myself. We change that perspective to see things from Krishna's point of view, and we act in Krishna consciousness, and a whole new dimension opens up. But very often we are still quite conditioned by our old way of thinking, which isn't just old from this life, but maybe from, you know, who knows how many lifetimes. So we need a process also, and we apply this process, and then Prabhupada wants to explain it to us so we don't misunderstand it. And so that's what we are doing here. We're reading the Bhagavad-gita. All action done under such directions are free from the reactions of pious and impious activities of this material world. The transcendental attitude of the devotee in the performance of activities is actually that of renunciation, and this is called sannyas. So renunciation, it's not an artificial thing that I'm not going to own anything, I'm not going to do anything, I'm not going to enjoy anything, I'm just going to sit in the rain with too little clothes and get sick and not even care about it. No, the renunciation is meant to, we renounce everything that is not in connection with Krishna. So everything that we can connect to Krishna will not be a problem. Some things we cannot connect to Krishna, so we give them up completely. And some things at certain points in life are more of a distraction in our service to Krishna, so we give them up. But that renunciation doesn't so much mean we give things up. It means we add Krishna, and Krishna becomes the most important thing, the priority. And then the other things, it's not even a question of giving them up. It's just that we don't really have time for it if it's not connected to Krishna. It's called sannyas. As stated in the first verse of the 6th chapter of Bhagavad-gita, one who acts as a matter of duty because he has been ordered to do so by the Supreme Lord, and who does not seek shelter in the fruits of his activities. Anashrita karma palam is a true renouncer. Anyone acting under the direction of the Supreme Lord is actually sannyasi and a yogi, and not a man who has simply taken the dress of the sannyasi or a pseudo-yogi. As a Prabhupada called this Krishna consciousness, and we understand why. Because it is all a matter of directing our consciousness back to Krishna. That is the one point. Then, of course, in that one point, there is so much variety. There are so many activities that are part of devotional service in this world, and there is, how to say, an eternally dynamic relationship with Krishna that is very individual in the spiritual world. So it's not a one thing, like sometimes, they say meditation is meditate on the candle or on one point or on the nothingness. That gets a little bit boring. Krishna is never like that, but still, before we have that sort of realization, it's still helpful to always remember to bring the mind and the activities and the focus back to Krishna. And Bhagavad-gita is showing us that in so many ways, and here we can see that by doing that, we're not losing out. I was reading a little bit about philosophy, how you have this modern Western philosophers who are saying life is just a source of frustration, because whatever choice we make means we miss out on everything else. Yes, but when we make Krishna that choice, there is no missing out, because Krishna is actually everything, and our connection to him is a very natural and real one. And I hope you'll come back for more Bhagavad-gita next time. Mostly every Tuesday and Friday. Occasionally I'm a little late, but I hope to see you again. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for watching. We aim for updates every Tuesday and Friday. Please come back. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down there. We also have some links and information for you. And there is, of course, the subscribe button. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
I'm a Hare Krishna, and I approve this message. Subscribe.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,